mixed emotions tonight in Grand Rapids from people hoping to rent out their homes like a bed and breakfast using online networks like Airbnb. The City Commission just approved new regulations allowing it, but with some major restrictions. Here's what they approved last night. The owner has to live in the residence. Only one room can be rented out at a time. No more than 2 adults can rent that room. No more than 200 permits will be given to homeowners, costing each one of them $1,700 each. And they'll also have to notify neighbors who live within 300 feet of that property each time that room is rented. Now, supporters say it's a start, but they're upset about that big fee. Meanwhile, hotels and licensed B&B say this move just opens up a whole new can of worms because there's no industry standards for inspections, creating an unfair competition. Well, one thing that really hasn't been discussed in all of this, the legal issues Airbnb creates when it comes to insurance and liability. Joining us with more on that, local attorney Tom Sinas from Sinas Dramas Law Firm here in Grand Rapids. And this really poses some different issues for people that are both willing to rent out their homes and the people that are willing to stay there.
It really does, Christian. I mean, this Airbnb is just one example of what people are calling the sharing economy. And it's something that a lot of people are very excited about, and in many cases rightfully so. But the question I think we have to ask is, as we have this sharing economy part of our lives, are we doing so in a way that keeps all of us safe and protected? You know, no one ever wants to think about the worst case scenario. Right?
A slip and fall in your house.
Anything. Unfortunately, I spend all of my day representing people who have had the worst case scenario happen to them. And the question there is always, well, what can we do now? Do we have insurance to help us through this tragedy?
There was nothing that they passed last night that requires people to have insurance.
That is correct. My understanding is that the city's regulations are silent on insurance. And so if something terrible happens, who will be responsible?
The homeowner would say, I have homeowner's insurance.
And that is the classic case of the devil is in the details. And this is something, Christian, that regardless of Airbnb, as a safety tip, everyone watching tonight, I know it's hard, I know it's tedious, and I know it's boring, but please read your insurance contracts.
So you may not be covered.
You may not be covered.
Because you're using it as a commercial property instead of a residence where just you and your family live.
Exactly. All the details of your coverage are contained in that very boring document called your insurance contract. And when it comes to Airbnb, you very likely will find, as I found in my own, that if I rent out my home, I don't have insurance coverage.
This is for single family homes, single units, so you probably don't have to worry about things like homeowners associations or what happens if they slip and fall at the pool, but they would come after the homeowners association too, right? I mean, you would think.
You know, right. I think it presents questions of what happens if someone, let's say someone is coming to visit Grand Rapids and we want them to come. We love our city. And what happens to them if something goes wrong? Is there insurance coverage? And that also is the same question for the homeowner. What if the homeowner is renting out one of their wonderful Grand Rapids homes and something terrible happens and the homeowner thinks they have insurance only to find out they don't? Is their home then at risk?
Boy, that's scary. So the end result is you better call your insurance agent, you better read your policy and make sure that you have some sort of coverage because you are setting yourself up for some liability.
I think the most safe thing people can do is to do just that. Read your policy, call your agent, and if you're concerned, buy a little extra coverage. It's just a little bit extra.
Some good advice, and we appreciate you talking about this. And of course, Uber, very similar. Tom, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Back to you.